Okay, you have to understand this. Just 11 minutes ago, the world changed. An Israeli F-16I fighter jet, flying in what its pilots believed was totally safe airspace, was just hit by an Iranian missile. A missile that was fired from a range that, until this very morning, was considered completely, utterly impossible.
And this is the number at the absolute heart of this story. 4,000 kilometers. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the distance that changes absolutely everything.
Look, until today, every single Western defense intelligence assessment, I'm talking from the Pentagon to Mossad in Tel Aviv, they all put a hard cap on Iran's missile range at about 2,500 kilometers. 4,000 kilometers wasn't just, unlikely, it was officially deemed impossible.
So, what on earth just happened? Well, this impossible strike just showed a capability that is years, literally years, ahead of what anyone thought Iran could do. And in just 11 minutes, the strategic map of the Middle East, and frankly, a lot more than that, was just completely torn up and redrawn.
I mean, the reality is just that stark. The entire strategic geography of this critical region was rewritten in the time it took that one missile to fly from launch to impact. All the old assumptions? Gone. The old maps? They're basically obsolete. We've just entered a brand new era of risk.
Which, of course, brings us to the weapon itself. How did Iran pull off a technological leap that literally no one saw coming? Well, let's unpack this 4,000-kilometer weapon. It's time to talk about the Khorramshahr 5.
To really get why this is such a shocker, you got to look at the progression that Western intelligence was tracking, right? So, through the 2000s, you had the Shahab series. They topped out around 1,500 kilometers. Then, in the 2010s, came the Sigil series, pushing that range up to a really formidable 2,500. So based on that, the official prediction for the next big jump in range, not for years. We were thinking 2027, maybe even 2030.
Until today. And just like that, in one single launch, all those years of careful intelligence estimates were just vaporized. This wasn't just a surprise. Let's be clear, this was a catastrophic intelligence failure on a global scale.
So what exactly are we dealing with here? We'll meet the Khorramshahr 5. It's a new missile with a now proven 4,000-kilometer range. But the range is only part of the story. The really crucial parts are the maneuvering reentry vehicle, which basically means it can dodge interceptors, making it incredibly hard to shoot down, and its payload. We're talking up to 1,200 kilograms. That's big enough for a massive conventional bomb, or, and this is the nightmare scenario, it's right in the weight class for a tactical nuclear weapon.
So with this new weapon in play, the strategic map isn't just being redrawn, it's being expanded. The threat is no longer just a regional one. As of today, it is a continental danger, and the implications of that are, well, they're profound.
I mean, just look at the new reality. Before today, the threat was pretty much contained to the Middle East. You could park an aircraft 1,800 kilometers away and consider it totally safe. It was a known, manageable risk. And now, that same aircraft is smack dab in the middle of the target zone. Southern and Eastern Europe are now under threat. For NATO, this isn't just a problem, it's a full-blown strategic crisis.
And let's get really specific, because this is where it hits home. Look at what is now in range. We're talking about major European capitals like Rome and Athens. We're talking about critical NATO and U.S. military bases like Aviano in Italy, which, by the way, is a nuclear storage site, and Ramstein Air Base in Germany, which is NATO's command HQ. All of a sudden, the entire security setup for Southern Europe looks incredibly fragile. And the shockwaves from this one event are just getting started. Let's look at the global ripple effect, because this goes way beyond military strategy. We have to talk about a failed intercept from the world's best defense system and a brand new, very harsh economic reality.
And here's the part that is just jaw-dropping. Israel's Arrow 3 system, which is widely considered the most advanced missile defense system on planet Earth, designed specifically for this exact kind of threat, it failed. It didn't stop the missile. So the question is, why?
Well, the system was simply outmatched. It was designed to fight the old threat. This new Khorramshahr 5, it flies higher, it flies faster, and it comes down at a much steeper angle. But the real killer feature is that maneuvering warhead. It actively dodges the intercept solution. The defender was basically prepared for a fastball, and Iran just threw a devastating, unhittable curveball.
Now, let's talk about money, because the economics of this are just brutal. The estimated cost for Iran to build and fire this game-changing missile, probably somewhere between $8 and $12 million.
And the cost of the defense? Well over $33 million. And that's just for the lost F-16 and the one Arrow 3 interceptor that missed. This creates a cost imbalance of at least 3-to-1 in Iran's favor. They can inflict massive, massive costs on their adversaries for a fraction of the price.
So why does any of this matter to you? Well, because of this. The Persian Gulf accounts for 30% of the entire global oil supply. That whole region, every pipeline, every tanker ship, every port is now living under the shadow of a much more credible, much longer-range threat. Your bill at the gas pump is directly connected to the new risk that just appeared in this region.
So all of this leaves us with the one crucial question. What happens next? Because this single missile launch has just dragged us kicking and screaming into a new and much more dangerous era of deterrence.
And you have to understand, this wasn't just a weapons test. This was a message, written in the language of fire and steel. To Israel, it said, "Your safe airspace is gone." To the US, it said, "Your European bases are now targets." To NATO, "Your entire southern flank is vulnerable." And to the Gulf states, the message was simple. There is nowhere left to hide.
And that leaves us right here with this one final, really chilling question. If 4,000 kilometers, a distance that all the experts told us was impossible, is now a reality, what's stopping 6,000 kilometers? What's to stop a missile that can reach Berlin, or Paris, or London? The physics, they're exactly the same. And after what we saw today, honestly, all bets are off.